Well, the stakes are set very high now for next week's New Hampshire primary. Senator Ted Cruz rewrote the GOP narrative by taking that first win in Iowa last night. The Texas senator, of course, got 28% of the vote, followed by Donald Trump with 24% support. And, of course, everyone's watching out for Marco Rubio, who surged into third place. He was only a percentage point behind Trump, and they got the same amount of delegates. So what happens? Who has the real momentum as we head into New Hampshire? Back with me, Mark Serrano, Guy Benson, David McIntosh, and Erica Canuti. Hey, Guy, let me go to you first. Has the narrative been changed enough that Donald Trump could actually lose in New Hampshire? Because it seemed like a slam dunk 24 hours ago.
Anything can happen, Charles. I mean, we're still roughly a week out, and we can see how the ground can shift and the polls can be wrong. I will say Trump's average lead in the Iowa polls was roughly 5 points. His average lead in New Hampshire is closer to 20 points. So he's got a much, much bigger cushion there. It would take a real implosion for Trump to lose in a state like New Hampshire. But if you're Marco Rubio in New Hampshire at the debate on Saturday night on ABC News, you might want to bring a flak jacket because you have a lot of people. Cruz is invested in coming after you. Trump is invested in coming after you. And everyone in the establishment lane, Kasich, Christie, Jeb, they all see Rubio as the threat to their potential path to victory. I think it is going to be a very interesting, intense debate on Saturday.
You know, David, there's no doubt about it. Kasich and a few others have already said this is their last stand. And again, I think we get back to the expectations game here. If Donald Trump's got this significant lead, I guess the battle is for second place.
It certainly looks like that, especially among those who are running in the more moderate lane. I think the key is for people to lay out their agenda on the economic issues. New Hampshire is more moderate socially, but very conservative on taxes and spending. And that gives even Ted Cruz an opportunity to come in and talk about his agenda on the economic side of the House. Trump has more difficulty there. He's got his tax plan, but on other things, he's going to have a tough sell, I think, when people start actually sorting through, okay, what's this guy really about? He didn't win Iowa. I thought he would. And I think they'll take a second look.
Mark, do you think that could, and listen, one thing we talk expectations, Donald Trump has already talked a lot about not liking McCain for being a war, POW, because he didn't like people who got caught. He's had this sort of disdain for anyone who wasn't, quote unquote, a winner. Does this now start to come back to haunt him a little bit?
Well, you can look at Iowa and criticize, Donald Trump all day long because the expectation was that he would win. And so you take a look at the debate last week and other things, and you can assume, well, if you'd done this, if you'd done that, it might have been a different outcome. So I think it's time to completely regroup. Iowa's not particularly good at picking GOP nominees. So it's just going to be race to race to race. Each race is going to be completely unique. 10 days from now, we're going to have several guys drop off. I agree with the idea that Rubio is going to have a big target on his back. That may help Trump, frankly. He may be able to attack and draw some of that support. But I think you're going to see Trump modify, change. I think we'll see more retail politicking at Trump this week.
Right, I think so, too. I think he'll hit the ground running and stay on the ground a lot more. Erica, on the Democratic side, Bernie Sanders, again, he's got this similar large lead. I'm not quite sure what Hillary Clinton's strategy is going to be, but I guess she does have low expectations working for her.
Right. Well, I mean, New Hampshire actually was her resurgence back in 2008. So I think for her, emotionally, to come back to New Hampshire with the expectation of it not being victorious or not feeling so victorious is probably pretty difficult. But this is kind of Bernie's backyard. I mean, he's from Vermont. This is a place that knows him very well, where he spent a lot of time because it looked like he could chip away at New Hampshire before he could chip away at Iowa, really. So, I think that, it's going to be, again, retail, shaking hands. New Hampshire voters there are used to meeting the candidates, feeling intimate with the candidates, and so it's going to be a lot of just pounding pavement and doing one-on-one.
And there's no doubt New Hampshire's got a much better track record for picking presidents than Iowa does.